Yo, welcome back, you guys. Today is Sunday, February the ninth? Yeah, February the ninth. I am 2 days off of celebrating my 3.5 years, 3 years, 6 month anniversary on my lock journey. And the notes are, or the title, I always put with curly hair. And that's because I had curly hair and I knew I had curly hair, things like that. Um, Today, I want to talk to you about the gaze of, how can I put it? The gaze of hate, maybe. The gaze of frustration, possible, sound a little more. Gaze of judgment, the gaze of just not understanding, the gaze of ignorance. Um, I just got back in town today, earlier this morning. So this is why I'm posting this late, or filming this late, I should say. It's after 10 p.m. Today is my wash day, and I just got back in town from a wedding. Special shout out to my niece and her husband. Um, you know, Prior to me leaving out of town, I had to stop by the post office. And I live in Denver, Colorado, and for black people, it may not appear this way if you live here and stuff, but I'm gonna say we're like specks of pepper in a bowl of grits, for a lack of better words. There's not really many black people out here, so I always have this thing where I get frustrated sometimes with brothers whenever they don't give me the head nod back. I'm always gonna give the head nod, either down, the sup, you know what I mean, or whatever. But I always get frustrated when brothers don't give me that. I sort of expect it from people who aren't from the United States, because maybe I don't believe it's truly a part of the culture outside of America. For example, I went to Canada, and I did that on a lot of brothers, and they just looked at me in Canada when I was in Toronto and Montreal. They just looked at me like, huh? And I was like, at first I was offended. And eventually I was like, I don't think they get it. Same thing in Africa. They didn't get it when I was in Morocco. When I'm in France, they didn't get it out there. When I was in Portugal, they didn't really get the head nod so much. And even here in the United States, we get the head nod. But I almost feel like, dang, dog, what's up, man? You can't give it back? I don't know what it is. But anyhow, I was talking about the gays. I always get upset when I don't get the head nod. But here recently, I've been noticing, especially people who are my age or older, have this gaze of like, ugh. Usually that person who does the ugh looks like ugh, if you want to be real, you know? Needless to say, having locks like these, natty dreadlocks, is not for everybody. And you get those reminders from time to time. About our own prejudices, our own, I wouldn't even call it self-hate, just ignorance. You know, we have a lot of topics that we could talk about, you know what I mean, on how we separate ourselves from the other. But I really hope that one day we'll learn to identify with another instead of focusing on the differences. We even have that within the lock community. Me having to say that. I grew up saying dreadlocks. I'm going to continue to say dreadlocks. Some people say, don't say that because of this and that. And man, I'm going to say what I say. You say what you say. Don't make me mad. What I eat don't make you bleep. Sugar, honey, iced tea, right? You know, I'm not caught up in that stuff. I'm not caught up in how we look, you know. Um, but it does throw me off when I don't get the head on. It does throw me off when people look at me like I'm disgusting. And little do you know, you're sort of disgusting. Even if you are an attractive person, physically attractive to me. I can't speak for others, but physically attractive to me. You ever met someone that was physically attractive and as soon as they opened their mouth, all the value just made them ugly? That type of stuff, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, man, when I was in the post office and that woman just looked at me, I gave her the head nod like to assist, you know what I mean, to assist, and she just was like, ew. And I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, it just catches me off guard. Anyhow, man, this is a journey for me, and I just want you guys to know that. This is a journey for me. But I wanted to bring that up because, you know, a lot of people, they are, I think when that word ignorance, this doesn't mean you're stupid. They're just lacking knowledge. I just think that a lack of knowledge, sometimes I know someone like myself, even the way I live myself, being in a 12-step program, some of the things that I talk about in my family, um, it challenges everybody's belief systems. Belief systems about hair, belief systems about a higher power, belief systems about just minding your business, man. Quit being so judgmental. Or as this one lady who was my PT, she said, my mom's very opinionated. I like that. I said, I like that because I always say judgmental. So being very opinionated, you know. When you have a sense of a higher power, usually you find forgiveness when you find forgiveness for yourself, you know. I mean, you find love when you start learning what love is for yourself. So everything else is like an outside issue for me, not the inside issue, but the outside issue. And, you know, for those of you guys who are embarking on the journey, you guys may run into some of this. And I'm going to tell you, it's not you, it's them. That's just a projection. You will go up and down, not up and down in your emotions, in your self-acceptance, and just acceptance, period. And what I mean by acceptance, period, is I have self-acceptance. I love myself. I have all these things. But there's some things I just cannot control, like other people, places, or things. Those things are an outside issue. And when I have a sense of a higher power bringing it back, I find more humility to see you for being exactly who you are, a human being. Sometimes, because I'm on this path, I tend to think that others are on the same path as me. And they're not. And the acceptance piece is for me to allow them to be opinionated. It's truly not a reflection of who I am or the man that I be. It's not a reflection of my physical attributes, my spiritual attributes, who I am as a dad, a father, a son, a brother, an uncle, a human being. The humanity and the humility in me helps me identify, going back to that word identify, that that person is going through something, just like I have too. You think I've been living through the world without being opinionated? That's why I feel bad for people who are very opinionated, because I know what I feel like inside. And that's how I know that's someone projecting their own fears and judgment, what they think that mirror onto me, which usually is self-centered fear. So If you walk into this person and you're on your journey and going through your day and they go, ugh, it ain't you, man. Try to find forgiveness, empathy. And the empathy is through the identification process that they're human just like you. They got problems. Who knows what's going on in their life? There's something about you. You know, when I started to change and get healthy and do other things, that contradicted everybody who I was hanging around. It contradicted their entire existence. They had to reflect on themselves and say, well, what am I doing? You know, when I stopped drinking, for how long? Why? You know, that's a challenge for people. When you start growing locks like this, why? How long? You know, what are you doing that for? Yeah, it comes off as brash and harsh, or them trying to make fun of you, or ignorant and all those things. But it's truly, it is ignorance, but something is challenging their existence and their belief systems. They're unsafe. That's what I'll say. They don't feel safe in themselves, and they're trying to make you responsible for their own insecurities. That's the best way I could probably have put it. So when you're on your journey and you're walking through the world, it's going to be very hard to do it, but don't take it personal. When people are projecting, forgive them. You've done it too. Move on. Move past. Like I said, what they eat don't make you. Sugar, honey, iced tea. It's easier said than done. But I tell you what, if you practice a lot without showing people the change that's happening within, and you continue to practice a lot, your higher power is going to show up in that way. You're going to see yourself doing some of the impossible, like biting your tongue when you really want to let someone know how ew they really are. Who's really the ew one, you know? I thank you guys for tuning in. You know what? Before I get out of here, let's get into the locks real quick. I'm going to take you around my kitchen. Yes, they're still growing. They're fully dry. You know, I love family. I got compliments when I was out of town. Drove to Funky Town, Fort Worth area from Denver. Was hanging out there. My family's not from there. I just have family who moved there and lives there now. But yeah, let me take you around my kitchen, okay? Let's see. Oh, hopefully you guys are getting any of this. Like you guys know, I can't tell what you see, what you don't see, and all that's jazz there. Like the rap group Stetson Sonic talking all that jazz. You know? Yeah, man. This is still my first lock right here. This is still my first lock right here. It's getting pretty long. It is the longest, but everything else is catching up to it, like this one. These in the back are starting to grow. Not the one in the middle right here as much as the ones on the sides, like this one right here. Or back on this side. I don't know if you guys... Hold on. This one back on this side. I don't know if you guys are seeing all this. But yeah, man. These are still getting with the ribbons and everything else like that. All right, now. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. I am not so anonymous. This is my 3-year, 6-month anniversary. Just try to identify. Hopefully you guys are working on acceptance, or becoming more spiritually grounded. Like I said, it's going to take a lot more practice. And practice is for you. The world don't have to practice for you. But you got to practice and prepare for it, because it's going to be rough out there, you guys. It's not easy doing the things, even within your own belief system. I grew up in a background where when I lived in a lot of fear, and one of the things that I lived in fear was if I let one person get away with it, then everybody's gonna try. So guess who was fighting, fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting? Because I was afraid to let anybody. But the key word was afraid. I was afraid for anybody to think I was a punk, chump, sucker, any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And today I find a lot of courage in being vulnerable. I find a lot of compassion for others because I found compassion for myself. I have a lot of empathy for others because I identify and I have a lot of empathy for myself, a lot of love. I'm not on no peaceful yogi guru elevate stuff, but just being real with you, you know. But I didn't get here through osmosis. It's a lot of hard work. This is 2015. I got clean in 2025. I got clean in 2015. I'm coming up on 10 years being clean from any mind or mood altering substances. Imagine navigating your world without substances, learning that you can no longer blame people, places, or things, and being told that I have to face my own problems and feelings instead of blaming the world for how I feel. Imagine that. It's going to take a lot of practice. This is a lifelong journey for me, just like these locks. Yeah, man, just like these dreads. You know, it's a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong acceptance. You know, I can't even control this. It's going to do whatever it wants to do. You guys just hang in there, man. Once again, my name is Not So Anonymous. This is my 3.5-year anniversary. 2 stoves. And I'm out.